Immediately after the financial crisis, shareholders or investors have called for more independence at the fund boards. We don't think that it is an issue any longer. You see many funds with independent directors. The problem, however, when we looked into those funds that failed in the financial crisis, was not the lack of independence, it was rather the lack of skill. When we say that, we mean 75% and more of the funds had independent directors that had a career in accounting, auditing, or a legal background. Only a few had independent people that had an investment background. And none of the over 50 funds that we looked at that failed in the financial crisis had somebody with a risk management background. The composition of fund boards today is what was requested after the crisis. You see many independent directors sitting on boards. In most cases, you will even see an independent majority of board members. However, on the skill side, we don't think that there was a lot of change in those 10 years since the financial crisis. You would still see lawyers that supported in the setup of the fund. You will see fund administrators that on top of their administration mandate, they send one or two directors to the board. And you see many retired people from the network of the fund manager that are kind of independent, but definitely an affiliate to the fund's manager. After the crisis, when everybody was looking for more independent people, we clearly saw that independence is not enough. When you look at an ideal composition of the board today with regards to skills and character, yes, skills are indeed very important because you need to understand what the strategy of the fund is, what's going on when the people report or discuss certain decisions. You need to be able to understand it. However, character is very important as well. There is no need in having somebody independent on the board who will always decide in favor of the investment manager rather than the shareholders that he represents. And we believe that, for example, integrity is a character or a personality matter rather than something that you can learn at university. It's very important that you have strong personalities in the board who dare to speak up, who are at eye level with the manager, service providers, etc. If you want to analyze, for example, conflicts of interest. An independent director today, in our view, should represent the shareholders. He's a partner of the shareholders rather than a partner of the investment manager. What works very well is if you have an active dialogue with the shareholders. They can talk to the investment manager and the service provider sometimes, but they should always have an open and direct communication with the independent board members. The three lines of defense, portfolio management as a first line, risk management and compliance as a second line of defense, and internal auditors or senior management as a third line, are very important. In many cases, we've seen that people think an independent board is not so important. It's rather ticking a box. They clearly see an independent board member as a fourth line of defense that is outside the investment management firm. We think that a good independent director sees himself as a 1B line of defense, as a 2B line of defense, and as a 3B line of defense. What I want to say with that is an independent director should have access to the portfolio management, to have a direct dialogue with them, But he should also be allowed to talk to the risk manager and compliance people of a fund management company. And ultimately, of course, internal audit, senior management, etc. are very important points. I, for example, would never accept if people would not allow me to talk directly to the portfolio managers and say, please talk to the internal auditor. Those are your prime contacts.